I love omelets. Omelets have endless combinations. You can have a different omelet every day of your life if you so choose. It's also a great way to get students involved in the kitchen. Let's look at our setup and our mise en place for our omelet for today. Now we have, it's going to be a 2-egg omelet, so we have 2 eggs which we're going to be cracking and whisking. I've pre-sauteed some spring onions and some finely diced mushrooms, as well as we have some mozzarella, shredded mozzarella cheese. We have about a couple of tablespoons of oil, and we have some salt, which we will use to season at the end of the omelet. We also have our prep recipe along with our tipping points and the ingredients. Now is a great time to call the mise en place, have the students call the mise en place, and make sure that everything is ready. This is a great way to get students involved because there are so many different stations that can go on right here. We can have someone preparing the wet ingredients, the dry ingredients. We can have someone preheating the frying pan. We can have someone cracking and beating the eggs. So there's a lot going on, and we can divide this amongst about 3 or 4 students so everyone has an opportunity to participate. So let's looking at what we need here. We have our rubber spatula, which we're going to use for folding the omelet. We have, in this case, our induction tabletop. Now, normally we use in the kitchen, we'll use a gas stove, but for this purpose, this is fine. I'm using a pan, make sure it's not too large. It's only a 2-egg omelet. We don't need, a lot of area, so this is great. It's going to keep everything nice and tight. And so if you don't have a non-stick, be prepared to maybe use a little bit more oil or butter. I tend to use sometimes a combination of oil and butter. I do love butter, however, butter tends to brown if it's slightly overheated, and the brown can transfer to your eggs. Now, you don't want an omelet that is brown. You want an omelet that is yellow or white, not brown. If it's brown, start over. We have our plate that we want to serve immediately. Omelets are something that you want to serve immediately because they're best served hot or warm. And we have our mixing bowl, and we're going to start by cracking some eggs, and then we're going to beat the eggs. We're going to bring our pan to the right temp. We do not want to cook omelets in high heat. We're looking at medium-low heat. If you're in a rush, don't make the omelet. Give it time, respect the ingredients, and everything is going to be just fine. Well, there's an old saying that says you can't make an omelet without cracking some eggs, so let's go ahead and do that. In order to crack an egg, what we're going to do is we're going to use a flat, hard surface to crack the shell, and we're going to gently put it in there. Not so much gently because we're going to scramble it anyway, but we're going to ensure that we don't spill any of the egg yolk or any part of the egg outside of our bowl. We want to maintain a clean environment so we don't want any bacteria outside of the bowl. So we're going to give that a click, and we're going to get our thumbs in there, and we're going to press, and we're going to open it up, and we're going to drop our egg. Okay, so that's 1 egg done. We're going to take our eggshell and we're going to discard it. Let's grab our second egg. Let's do the exact same thing. We're going to use a hard surface. We're going to give it a knock, and we're going to open it up like this. Now, in the event you get an eggshell in there, it's not the end of the world. Believe me, it happens all the time. What you do is you take your half of your eggshell and you dip it in there, and what you're going to do is you're going to find that it's actually very easy to scoop up that little bit of egg shell. So use an eggshell to get an eggshell. Makes sense. That is a great tip, and it works 100% of the time. One thing we forgot in our mise en place, which is, even the best of us makes mistakes, is our whisk. How can we forget our whisk? This is an amazing tool. When you're dealing with eggs, whisks are important to have in the kitchen. So we're going to use our whisk, and what we're going to do is we're going to gently beat the eggs, and we're going to just take our whisk and we're just going to gently beat them. Now, you don't want to overwork your eggs. And the reason why you want to overwork your eggs is because, you want to maintain this light fluffiness to the egg. And there we go. I like using long stretches. I find that works. You get better texture with the egg when I'm whisking. And so there we go. We have our eggs. fully incorporated. There's no chunks of egg white, or there's no chunks of yolk, and everything is fully incorporated. As you can see, everything is well mixed together. So we're gonna get ready to this, and while this is going on, we should be having our pan being preheated. So let's take a look at that. Now, the key to a good omelet is temperature. We need to get this pan at the right temperature. We don't want the eggs to burn or stick to the pan. Now, I would have preferred a non-stick frying pan. Unfortunately, out of all these pans in the kitchen, I could only find one. It was too small. So we're gonna use a stainless steel regular pan. Now, if we're gonna be doing that, we have to make sure we have enough fat so it doesn't actually stick to the pan. So I'm gonna use some vegetable oil over here, and you could use butter. Just remember that butter has a low smoke point, which means it burns very easily. It turns brown, and that will actually that color will transfer over to your omelet. Now, you could add some butter with your oil, and that will work as well, because butter is yummy. So we're going to place about, I would say, about a tablespoon of oil to our pan, which we have pre-measured, and we're going to allow it to heat up. We're going to coat our pan thoroughly. Since it's not a non-stick skillet, it's not Teflon, we want to make sure that we're fully covered there. All right, here we have our 2 beaten eggs, and what we're going to do now is we're going to place them in the frying pan. There we go. And we're going to let the frying pan do its thing. Now, it's important that we do not crank up the heat. You got to be very patient. We're looking at a medium-low, medium setting, preferably medium-low. We're going to cook this until it is just right. We don't want it to brown. We want it to maintain this nice yellow or whitish color. So we're leaving it right now at a lower temperature. In the meantime, I'm going to ensure that everything else is correct here. We have our shredded cheese, we have our sauteed mushrooms, our sauteed spring onions, and we have our salt for seasoning afterwards. So we're going to let this do its thing. Now, the rubber spatula is important, because what we want to do is we want to always, we're going to go around. You can see already that if I grab my rubber spatula, that I'm starting to be able to lift the edges. Okay, it's important. Lifting the edges, you can see that it's coming together nicely. And what we don't want is, we do not need or want anything to stick, because if it's sticking, it's burning. So we want to make sure that it is coming together fine. Don't over play around with it, because it could be, you could mess it up. So if you like, something I like to do sometimes, I'll take it and I will tilt it, and I'll allow some of that beat eggs to go along the side to ensure that the omelet is cooked thoroughly all the way around. Otherwise, if it's a little too much sitting on top, the bottom will brown, the top will still be watery and yolky, and nobody wants that. So we're going to just take that and we'll just mix that. All right, so omelet's looking good. We're going to leave it. Now that the omelet is cooked well, it's not browned at the bottom at all. It has this nice yellow, a nice yellow color. What we're going to start to do is we're going to now add our ingredients I have sauteed before. I have sauteed some mushrooms, which I will put on top, just like that. And I'm only going to put on 1/2 of the onion, and the reason why is because I'm going to be folding it over. Okay, so we have our onions. We have our mushrooms. We have our sauteed spring or onions, which we're going to just sprinkle on top nice and evenly, not too much in one location. We don't want it too concentrated. As you can see, looking good. And we're going to take some of our shredded mozzarella, and we're just going to drop some fresh shredded mozzarella. We put these ingredients afterwards because we don't want to see the ingredients when we fold it over from the bottom to the top. They should be in the middle. So we're going to take our rubber spatula, and we're going to go around the edges, and we're going to fold, gently fold one half over the other. And so we're going to take that and we're going to move that. We're going to fold it, and you can see that we have folded a beautiful omelet. Take the omelet, grab our plate because we are ready for plating. And I'll take that omelet and just going to slide that omelet from the pan over to the plate, just like so. Now, the last thing we want to do is we want to season the omelet. So I like to season it afterwards. Some people will season it in the pan. I like to control my salt afterwards. We have our salt not in the shaker but loose. We're going to take a pinch of salt and we're going to season it from the top, and we're just going to let it sort of rain down salt, a little pinch of salt on the omelet, and we like to keep it as high as possible so that the granules are spread evenly across the omelet, so we don't have a high concentration of salt in one area. So this is the final omelet. Please enjoy.